Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another episode of Walk Away with Brandon Straka. That's me, Brandon Straka. We have a really, really awesome show tonight. What is today? It's October 1st, and it's a new month. And you know what month it is? It's the month of the Walk Away March on Washington. And I haven't paid my rent yet. I just realized that right now. I better get on top of that. The Walk Away March on Washington, you guys, I have some really, really exciting things to let you know about that. First of all, things are really, really coming together. I'm starting to feel super energized about this event because there it is. Because that's it. Because everything is really, really starting to come together. Let me tell you something super exciting that we're pulling together right now. And I really have to thank my team, all of my team, but in particular, Tanya Roberts and Tracy Diaz for organizing busing. You asked for it. We heard you. We listened, and we've got it. Busing, you guys, from 14 cities. I'm going to tell you right now what these cities are. So we, as of now, have options for busing from Boston, Charleston, Charlotte, Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio, Greenville. I didn't research the states, so I'm counting on you guys to know which states these are for some of them. Knoxville, Manchester, New York. That's in New York State. I know that one. Newark. That's in New Jersey. Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Raleigh, and Richmond. So we're going to have the link posted right now. Yeah, you can't see it in that little meme, but that's okay. I'm going to have people on my team posting the links, and we're going to be posting the links constantly between now and the March, so you can sign up. The buses are somewhere around $65 round trip or less. That's amazing, you guys. So you don't even have to worry about hotels. You don't have to worry about travel. You don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry about gas. You can come to the Walkway March on Washington and not worry about a thing. You bring your pillow, you sleep on the bus, you get all energized, you get ready to rally. It's going to be incredible. So we're making this available for so many more people to come. We're going to have the links available to you so you can click and you can figure out where the buses are. But it gets even better. Tanya Roberts, who's like my left hand. Tracy is my right hand. Tanya is my right hand when it comes to planning this march. Tanya, as we speak, is working on... Did I freeze, Rob? Rob. All right. Rob, am I... Okay. Tanya right now is... Thank you. Tanya right now is working on a package which will allow you to take a round trip bus and have lodging for the entire weekend for around $300. $300 for you to have round trip transportation and lodging for the entire weekend of the Walkway March on Washington. She's going to have that all wrapped up, I think, in the next day, possibly 2 days. I don't want to say for sure in case she calls me right now. She's like, what the hell do you mean? I need another 2 days. But so we will have that together for you. It's going to be amazing. But as of now, we do have the busing. It's incredible. Let's talk about our contests. Rob, let's get those contest memes up. So we've partnered with this texting company. So we've created all of these really cool contests leading into the march. We have a bunch of them, but we've only released 3 at this point. The 3 contests that we have are, I'll start with the first one. I wanted to just do it for $1. So let it be said that I only wanted you guys to have to pay $1 to enter this contest, but the company, Blit, has a minimum of $2. So it's $2 to enter this drawing. It's a drawing for a walkaway t-shirt. And what you do is you text the word merch. Oh, can you put the merch one up, Rob? There it is. Text the word merch to 51400. I know it says $1, but it's actually $2. So if you text merch to 51400, you enter for $2. You can enter as many times as you want. If you end up paying $20, you'll be entered 10 times for a drawing for a free walkaway t-shirt. I mean, I guess it's not really free if you're, entering the contest, but you enter the contest at a cost and then you get the t-shirt for free if you win, and you'll be notified by text message. Rob, can you pull up the one that says brunch? Yes. So if you text the word brunch to 51400, you will be entered in a drawing to win a free ticket to our closing brunch with speaker Dinesh D'Souza. This is on October 28th in Washington, D.C. at the Trump International Hotel. So it's going to be a buffet-style brunch at the most luxurious hotel in the country with Dinesh D'Souza as your speaker. And you're going to have all these amazing personalities from the Walkway March on Washington weekend at the event as well. It's going to be incredible. So that is, I think, $10 to enter. And you text the word brunch to 51400. And last but not least, Rob, could you put up gala? We are offering a drawing for our, this is, by the way, a VIP ticket to our gala dinner. So what this gets you into the VIP cocktail hour before dinner, where you're going to be rubbing elbows with some of the most amazing personalities, high-profile personalities in the conservative movement. You're going to have a 3-course dinner at Trump International Hotel. There will be a DJ. There'll be dancing. We'll have speakers. It's going to be incredible. And guess what it's going to cost you? $10. It's a $350 ticket that you can get for a $10 entry if you text the word gala to 51400. So guys, it's just getting better and better. Like every day it gets better. I'm going to tell you something that I probably shouldn't, because I'm a big believer in not letting the cat out of the bag until I'm holding the bag with the cat in it. And I can say, yeah, there's definitely a cat in this bag. I'm going to reach in and what I'm going to pull out is a cat. But I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go ahead and break my own rules because I'm sleep deprived. I'm so excited about all this other stuff. And I just I'm excited. I'm going to let it out. I'm going to tell you. I was contacted by Donald Trump Jr.'s people today. They let me know that he's very excited about Walkaway. He's very excited about the Walkaway March on Washington weekend. He actually wanted to speak at our dinner. He wanted to be the keynote speaker, but he couldn't because of a family obligation. However, what he did say is he's happy to make videos for the event, one promoting the event and one for the event itself. He just said, let me know what you want me to say. Just tell me what you want the people to know about your event, and I'm happy to do it because he believes in the Walkaway March on Washington. So Donald Trump Jr. is going to be filming a promotional video for our event because this is how much the Walkaway campaign means to people. The son of the President of the United States of America is asking me, hey, just write down what you want me to say. I'm happy to say it because you know what? You're the man. And I said, you're right, Don. I am the man. Okay, that conversation didn't happen, but it should have happened. And he really does believe in what we're doing, and he's going to make that video. It's going to be incredible, you guys. It's going to be amazing. Now, I'm really excited about tonight's show, and I need to kind of dive in because tonight is a very special. For those of you who are kids of the 80s, maybe even kids of the 70s, you probably remember when you would tune in with anticipation to watch your favorite sitcom that week, and they would have a little disclaimer at the beginning that said, tonight is going to be a very special episode of Growing Pains, where we address the issue of ... Well, tonight is going to be a very special episode of Walk Away with Brandon Straka. And I'll tell you why. Because tonight is dedicated to, let me get my little list of what I said earlier on Twitter, because sometimes if I try to quote myself, I can't even quote myself as well as I quoted it the first time. So let me just read what I wrote earlier today. Tonight is an episode dedicated to the underappreciated, overly criticized, and often wrongly accused straight white male. That's right. Tonight's episode is a tribute to one of the most beleaguered sects of society today that people just can't stop blaming for everything, can't stop pointing their finger at, can't stop accusing, can't stop raging at, can't stop being angry at. Oh, the world would be such a better place if it just wasn't for the horrible, horrible straight white men. Well, I don't feel that way. I love straight white men. I love straight white men. No, but really, I love straight white men. And so tonight we're dedicating an episode to these wonderful, wonderful guys. And I want to actually start off this very special episode of Walk Away with Brandon Straka by reading you an article that came out today that perfectly illustrates exactly the reason why we're doing such an episode. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, they're all on the left, who would hear a sentiment like that and say, oh, you're a bunch of racists and Nazis and bigots. Straight white men they have it so easy. They have everything. It's everyone else who's suffering. Really? Because I don't see a lot of articles like the ones I'm about to read to you coming out about Black people, coming out about women, coming out about gay people, coming out about... No, I don't see articles that say, Georgetown professor says white Republicans should be castrated and fed to swine. I don't see those kind of articles about any other race, any other gender, or of people of any other sexual orientation. I'm going to read this article to you, and then we're going to kick off the Straight White Men episode. All right, so Georgetown University distinguished Associate Professor Christine Fair thinks all white Republican senators in the Brett Kavanaugh hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee deserve miserable deaths. Just let that ruminate for a minute. Oh, and after they're dead, the professor, who describes herself in her Twitter bio as an intersectional feminist, pit bull apostle, Scotch devotee, non-theist register, thinks they should be castrated and fed to pigs. Look at this. Okay, now this is her quote. Look at this chorus of entitled white men justifying a serial rapist's arrogated entitlement. All of them deserve miserable deaths, while feminists laugh as they take their last gasps. Bonus, we castrate their corpses and feed them to swine. Yes. Fair wrote that on Twitter. I could go on, and I intended to go on, but let's do a little more. Fair's Twitter page has a banner that reads, "Don't grab my pussy." She also runs a blog called Shit Men Say, where she doxes people. It's about accountability, she claims. The article goes on from there, but I think you get the point. Now, this is a Georgetown professor. I think it's probably fair to say there will be no reprimand for a comment such as this. And I think it's fair to say that her job is not in danger. And I think it's also fair to say that she'll probably never take the comments down. I also think it's fair to say that if these same comments were made about anybody else of any other race or of any other gender or of any other sexual orientation, the internet would explode, and then the world would explode afterwards, and leftists would spontaneously, within 24 hours, create their own March on Washington, which would have $1 million within 24 hours funded by leftists. Guys, you've got to donate to the Walkway March on Washington. I mean, come on. We've got to go. Rob, do you have a GoFundMe link that you can throw up there? I'm not saying another word until there's a link on the screen. I'm just kidding. Oh, he's got one. Do you have? Oh, there's okay. Well, that's GoFundMe. That's good. Great. So, guys, please, you've got to donate to somebody from my team. Stick a link in right now to the comments, please. We have a GoFundMe for the Walkway March on Washington, where we have a goal of $500,000, which sounds like a lot of money because it is a lot of money. But guess what? We have 185. Well, now we had a huge surge after the Brett Kavanaugh hearing. We have over 185,000 people in the Walkway campaign. If each person gave $3, we would surpass our goal. $3. That's less than a latte. Not that people on the right drink lattes. What do people on the right have, Rob?
Chai lattes.
Popcorn? Beer! Yeah.
We have beer.
Yeah. And for some of you, it's about $3 is probably less than a 6-pack of the type of beer you drink. I don't know. But it's definitely less than... Rob just gave me 2 middle fingers for that one. Sorry, Rob. Yeah, you guys. So seriously, now that being said, I'm not suggesting that you run on the GoFundMe and donate $3 if you have $500,000 yourself. That you don't have to donate $500,000 either, but you can donate 100 or maybe a couple of hundred if you've got it to donate. If you've got $10, contribute. If you've got $20, contribute. But and I've made it fun. So you don't even have an excuse anymore. You can enter for a chance to win a gala dinner ticket. You can enter for a chance to win brunch with Dinesh D'Souza. You can enter for $2 and get a free walkaway t-shirt. Listen, guys, I've made giving money as fun as giving money can possibly be. Step up. It's time to contribute. The Walkway March on Washington is going to be amazing. Let's dive right into the show. And I'm so excited. Because we've got the Straight White Men episode. Okay, I can't talk if I don't have my pen in my hand. This is like, as soon as this leaves my hand, I can't talk. All right, so let's get right to our first guest. I'm super excited about this guy. I'm super excited. Let me tell you. I'm just going to say his name. Normally, I kind of hold off until the end. His name is Buzz Patterson. I'm so excited about Buzz Patterson. Let me tell you why. Buzz was on our list of people that we wanted to speak at the Walkaway March on Washington. I was able to get his contact information through somebody. I called Buzz on the phone, and Buzz is like an iPhone. Buzz is like an Apple product because you know what? Buzz is that thing that you didn't know you couldn't live without until he's suddenly there. He's just suddenly there. And then I'm like, how did I ever get through a day of my life without Buzz Patterson? I mean, this guy has talked me. I actually feel kind of bad for him because he's already, after I've known him for just about a week, he's talked me off the ledge about 3 times when I was like, Buzz, I don't know, the Walkway March on Washington, I'm losing my mind. He's like, Brandon, it's going to be okay. This thing's going to be amazing. Don't you get it? It's all going to be okay. This guy he's so cool. He's got this like really intelligent, calming presence. And you know why? Because he's a military guy. He's a military guy. He knows how to strategize. He knows how to get in there. He knows what needs to be done. And, and he's good at hyper emotional queens like me who are freaking out. He's just like, you've got to calm down. You've got to calm down. And I love this guy. Let's just bring him right on. Buzz Patterson. Hi, Buzz.
Hey, Brandon. How are you doing, bud?
Good. I'm sorry. That was literally the worst introduction in the world because I didn't even tell you.
No, I loved it, man. I loved it. It's because you know what? We've only met a few times on the phone, but you're already my best friend. And I'm so thrilled to be a part of this movement. I'm so thrilled to be part of the march. I'll be there for the gala on Friday night, be there for the march on Sunday and Saturday, and also be there for the breakfast on Sunday morning. So thank you. It's great to be here. Great to be on your show. And you are the man.
Thanks, Buzz. Thanks. When I said that I gave you the worst introduction in the world, it's because I can literally read your bio and your credits through the entire show. It's almost hard to even cherry pick how exactly to introduce you. But I need to let people know you've written 4 books. You worked in the Clinton administration now what exactly is your title in the Clinton administration?
I was an Air Force pilot for 20 years and I flew in combat. And then from the 1996, 1998, I was President Bill Clinton's senior military aide. So I lived in the White House, had an office and a bedroom in the White House, and carried the nuclear football, which is this black satchel that allows the president to, whoever it is, it goes back to JFK, actually. It allows the president to be the commander-in-chief and to do whatever he needs to do or she needs to do anywhere in the world 24/7 and either launch nuclear weapons or retaliate with nuclear weapons. And I was that guy for Bill Clinton for 2 years, which is how I became a conservative. Actually, I was at the time I was kind of a blank slate when I went in that job, and I saw so many things in those 2 years that really irritated me and disappointed me. So when I left the White House in 1998, I was no longer a Democrat. I walked away. I saw a lot of things that the Democrats were doing and the Clintons particularly were doing. So I retired from the Air Force in 2001 and wrote my first book, Dereliction of Duty, which talks about my experiences with the Clintons.
All right, so let's start there with your books, and then I want to really get into your story. So You've written 4 books. Rob, can you kind of flash those on the screen? Buzz's books. Oh, that was awesome, Rob. Cool.
That's awesome, Rob. Thank you, Rob.
Nice job. Okay, so Dereliction of Duty was your first book. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Are they right now listed in the order that you wrote them?
They are, as a matter of fact.
Rob is the best.
He is the best. Yeah. So I really wasn't a writer. I was a pilot. I flew in combat. I really didn't have any predilections in terms of, as an Air Force guy, an Air Force officer, you're taught actually not to have a political bent or a political philosophy, because you're supposed to obviously serve whoever is the president and the commander in chief. So in my years going up to the Clinton administration, the White House, I really didn't have I was a blank slate. So I went to work for the Clintons for 2 years, and I saw things that really, really, in terms of a walk-away movement, a walk-away moment, I saw things that really bothered me about this party, these people who were now in charge of our military and our national security. So when I retired from the Air Force in 2001, and I was actually able to literally and legally talk about my experiences, I wrote my first book, Dereliction of Duty, about my time with the Clintons. And my other books, Brandon, as they go forward, my books talk about how Democrats really have a difficult time with national security and our military and really the whole ethic of being a military person, why would you want to serve, why you volunteer, why you do that. And so my books are all about why Democrats are not well prepared for that, and why conservatives mostly are. And that's when I walked away and became a Republican conservative.
Well, Buzz, let's get into that a little bit more. I mean, when you talk about the Democrats not being, what did you say, less prepared or maybe less interested in the military than Republicans? Explain that to us a little bit. What exactly do you mean?
Yeah, well, I think it happens, Brandon. I think that the last really strong Democratic president in terms of the military and national security was President John F. Kennedy. I think that, he was the guy that he and Truman prior to that, and FDR prior to that, were pro-military, pro-national security. And during the Vietnam War, and I was too young to actually know this, but I've gone back and researched it. During the Vietnam War, the Democratic Party became a left of center and an anti-military. They protested the Vietnam War so strongly that they became to associate the people fighting the war, our guys and girls in uniform, with the war. So the Democratic Party kind of took a very left-hand lurch during those years, which is when they started to become not so fond of the military, not so fond of national security. So when you talk about the Vietnam War years, you talk about the people who are actually protesting in those years. Those were the Democrats that we now call leaders of the Democratic Party. You talk about, Nancy Pelosi, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Harry Reid. Those were all anti-Vietnam War liberals who then became the party power in the Democratic Party. And so we have seen a definitely left-hand lurch over the years. Now, you talk about Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. Those two were very prominent in the anti-Vietnam War movement. I mean, you go back and look at the writings of Hillary and Bill Clinton. Hillary was a big proponent of Saul Alinsky. And if your viewers don't know who Saul Alinsky is, go back and look at who that guy was and what he was proposing, and you'll see that same thing playing out today in the Democratic Party, especially as it concerns Brett Kavanaugh, his confirmation in the Trump administration. There is a very left-wing animus now in the Democratic Party toward conservative values, toward our military, toward our national security. And so that's what I write about. I write about the fact that we as Americans should expect more from a commander-in-chief, a president, or a Congress, or a Senate. We should expect more. We're not electing people to be careerists. We're electing people to be representatives of our citizenship. And I think what you've seen recently in the last 10, 20 years is that Democrats, have also always obligated themselves to voting for the D. They don't care about the principle. They don't care about the party affiliate. They don't care about the strategy, the philosophy, the policy. They care about the D or the R. And that's where this country has gone wrong.
I'm looking at the comments here too, and a lot of people are. Well, I think we would be remiss if we didn't take this opportunity with somebody who you lived with the Clintons,
right?
I mean, you lived in the White House,
yes,
for 2 years.
Yes. So my bedroom was in the basement of the East Wing.
Spill the tea.
My bedroom was in the East Wing of the basement of the East Wing of the White House, and my office was in the top floor of the East Wing of the White House. So I was there 24/7. So I would jog with Bill Clinton in the morning. I would go to the golf course with Bill Clinton. When we would go to Camp David or Martha's Vineyard or any event, Air Force One, Marine One, I was the guy right there in uniform carrying the nuclear football. That was my job. So I was there 24/7. And I saw things. I was there during Monica Lewinsky and Paula Jones and, Osama bin Laden, all that stuff. So I talk about not the, Bill Clinton to me was a very nice guy, but he didn't have a single moral fiber in his body. I mean, he was a guy that you would not want to allow him to be around your wife or your daughter. Or wow. And Hillary Clinton was even worse. I mean, Hillary Clinton was the person that was had a Nazi-like grasp on the schedule, kept the trains running on time, made sure Bill was in the right place at the right time. In fact, when Monica Lewinsky happened, Hillary became the co-president. She started dictating the schedule, what he said, what he didn't say, who he said it to. I mean, it was literally, to me, an incredible education into how and let me don't I'm not going to. For me, it was really impressive to see how important they were to themselves and how their political machine worked and how they could manipulate the story with the national media. I mean, that's what's going on still today. Bill and Hillary Clinton are quintessential politicians, but they don't care about you or me or anybody in Kansas. That's all about their future, their legacy, their power, their pocketbook. That's who the Clintons are. That's why I walked away and wrote my books.
Okay, so I'm curious about this because I feel, I voted for Hillary Clinton.
Sure.
And, I wouldn't, if I had a time machine, I wouldn't make that same choice. But I did make that choice. And the reason why I made that choice is because, several reasons. The ideology of liberalism told me that we needed a woman president, and that to not vote for a woman was a sign of regression. That liberals are all about progress, and people on the right are all about dragging us backward in time and holding on to a different time where racial minorities are subjugated and women are subjugated, and that it's only about again, here we are with our straight white male episode, and so I bought into that. But also the media machine, I think, did an outstanding job of presenting this woman as the most qualified, the most prepared. And I think somebody who really had the ideals of what America should be in, firmly in her vision, and that we should entrust this woman because she wanted what's best for America. Now, when I see, still to this day, when I see Hillary Clinton coming out of the woods and back on television for her, her cameo on Murphy Brown or whatever awards show they trot her out for to say whatever she's got to say, she does this really outstanding job of feeding that same narrative of, that it should have been her. She's what's best for America. And I got to tell you, I think it's very compelling. When I hear people like yourself who know her, or people on the right say that this is a wicked, horrible, rotten human being, that's not the Hillary Clinton that we often see presented on the left. So how is it that these two things can coincide? How is this?
Because they are amazingly adept at being politicians, and they are amazingly adept at it's almost cult-like, Brandon. If you can think about the sycophantic supporters that they have, the people that they loyally bring into their flock, the fact that they've been doing this for a long time. I mean, again, it was amazing. It was amazing to me to see the machine that they had built over years and years and years. But to see them up close and personal, being around Bill and Hillary constantly, day by day, you're going, what the hell? These people don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. What they cared about was their legacy, their political expediency, the next office they could hold, the next dollar that they could make. They're so programmed to be not our people, but their own people. In fact, being around Hillary and Bill was, as a military guy, day by day, it was so upsetting to me to see that they didn't really care about strategy. They didn't care about the country. They didn't care about the average person. They didn't care about you or me personally. They cared about their own legacy. It was an imperialistic presidency. It was an imperialistic White House. They only cared about what was best for them. If you could do their bidding and promote their cause, you were right there by their side and in their good graces. And I did that because I was a military guy and I couldn't say boo. Okay, I could not talk to them, and because I was beholden to the office, not the people. Okay, that's how the military works. I was a military officer. But when you walk away from that and you see the fact that they took advantage of all of us for years and years and years and years. And because the Democrat Party still to this day upholds them like they're some kind of virtuous gods. I mean, if you watch the I watched the crimes they committed against the American people over and over and over again, and now they're still out there spouting this BS about being virtuous and supporting the accusers of Brett Kavanaugh. They could have cared less about Brett Kavanaugh. Remember, Hillary was a person that said that people actually were being paid when her husband was in charge, was responsible for being attacked and accused by women. Hillary said, "Well, I can't imagine people are paying them off to say these things." Well, yeah, they are. And today, now she's now opposing Brett Kavanaugh. I mean, this is the worst of the worst in the Democratic Party. So this is why we have to walk away. This is why we have to, as Americans, embrace what we stand for. We embrace honesty, integrity, and character. And the Democrats, we have seen in the last week or so, and the Clintons do not embrace any of that. They don't care. The end justifies the means to them. Right. It's all about power. It's all about legacy. And truth be damned. That's who the Clintons are, the Democratic Party is, and Dianne Feinstein is just as guilty.
Let me ask you, Buzz, it's 2018, we're going into the midterms. Let's just imagine in our crystal ball of horrors that Hillary Clinton had won in 2016. What would America look like today? Where would we be headed?
Brandon, I was an airline pilot. I've written books. I was an airline pilot, and I actually retired from the Delta Airlines in 2016 because I could not imagine that woman being the president and the commander-in-chief of this country, because I could not imagine 8 years of her on top of 8 years of Obama. So I actually left my well-paying job as an airline pilot and started doing this again. We would be what Obama did in 8 years, in my estimation, was to just kind of be the rock star president and not get anything accomplished. If we had 8 years of Hillary Clinton, this country would be buried. So I left my occupation as an airline pilot, got back into doing this and speaking and writing books and talking, because this is our, I have children. I have 3 kids, high school, college, and middle school. And I cannot imagine handing them over a country that had 16 years of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. That's where we are right now, and that's why your movement is so powerful, Brandon. Because your movement, is going to rock the future of this country in so many ways, and it's so timely because we needed you. We needed Donald Trump because he's a game changer and he breaks glasses and breaks plates. Okay, we needed chaos in Washington D.C. and you are the voice now of a movement of people who have been taught and just expected to vote for the D on a ticket, any kind of ticket. That's not playing anymore. Okay, people in America have woken up now to the fact that this nation depends on the fact that we are educated, we're responsible, we okay. The golf, okay. And Brandon, you're the man. So I'm going to tell you that you are probably the most pivotal proponent and movement now going into the midterms in November. I've just got told by Rob that I got to talk about the Clinton, the golf course story, the Bill Clinton from Elizabeth.
Buzz, I'll ask it in the form of a question so that.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you bet.
Can you throw it back up, Rob? So, Buzz, I have a question for you. Could you please tell us, we would love to hear the Clinton golf course forgot the code story. Actually, Elizabeth really wants to hear that too.
Yeah, Elizabeth. Okay, there's actually 2 stories there. So let me tell you, you asked me why I was so disappointed in the Clintons. My first experience occurred on the professional golf course tournament in 1996. President Clinton and I were at a golf course in Lake Manassas, Virginia. So it was the American golf professionals play against the rest of the world, the Europeans. So during this time, I was the call screener at the White House. When President Clinton was away from the White House, I was the guy that would take the phone calls from whomever, Hillary, Roger, Jesse Jackson, whoever we're calling. So we're at this golf tournament in the summer of 1996. Now, if people can remember back that far, Saddam Hussein is the leader of Iraq, and he is trying to exterminate tens of thousands of people in the northern part of Iraq, tens of thousands of Kurds. he is using chemical weapons on because he has decided that Kurds can no longer exist. So he is rolling his forces up from Baghdad to use chemical weapons on the northern part of Iraq and extinguish the Kurds. So I'm with President Clinton, and at the golf tournament, and I received 3 phone calls consecutively from Sandy Berger, who at the time was a National Security Council advisor, trying to get through me to go to President Clinton to launch this attack. And those were my buddies in cockpits of fighters and bombers overseas to attack the Republican Guard and repel them and save all these innocent Kurdish civilians from being annihilated. On three occasions, I approached President Clinton to get him to take the phone call from his National Security Council advisor to either say, yes, go for the attack, or say, no, we're not going to do the attack. And on 3 occasions, Brandon, President Clinton wouldn't take the phone call, didn't want to talk to Sandy Berger, just wanted to get done with watching the golf tournament. So President Clinton allowed the attack not to happen, and hundreds of thousands of Kurds were innocently slaughtered by Saddam Hussein that day because President Bill Clinton wanted to watch Monica Lewinsky. Wanted to watch Tiger Woods putt. Now, the second time, the nuclear code. So my job was to carry the nuclear football and be around Bill Clinton. The nuclear football is a big black satchel that has all the nuclear codes, the nuclear weapons, and all the stuff we need to have to launch nuclear weapons. It's a big deal. It's a very sobering responsibility. Now, the president carries a credit card-sized document in his pants pocket or his coat pocket called the nuclear codes. So the morning the Monica Lewinsky story broke out, I was the first person on President Bill Clinton's schedule to brief him on the codes and to ask him if he had any questions about the military. So I'm walking into 7 o'clock in the morning in the White House. I'm walking past Betty Curry's desk at the outer Oval Office, and I see this Washington Post headline that says, "Sex Scandal Rocks White House." So I knew it wasn't going to be a good day in the White House. So I walk into the Oval Office and I approach President Clinton, and he knows he's been busted because of Monica Lewinsky. So he's got his head in his hands, and he's been up all night long. His eyes are bloodshot. He's white as a ghost. And I say, "Sir, I know this is a bad time. I'll come back later on this afternoon. I just need to see if you have the nuclear codes and just confirm you have the nuclear codes." And again, they're like a credit card sized document. And Bill Clinton says, "You know what? I don't have them." And I said, "Well, how long has it been? Where they are?" And these are probably the most important military document in the history of this nation. Okay, this is what he needs to do as the president to launch nuclear weapons. So I walk into the Oval Office and say, "Sir, do you have the codes?" And he says, "I don't know. I don't have them on me right now." I said, "Do you know where they are?" He goes, "No, I don't know where they are." So we did a very exhaustive search of the White House for a couple of days. We never did find him. And I went back to the president and said, "Sir, how long has it been since you've seen him?" He goes, "I don't have any idea." I said, "Has it been weeks?" He goes, "Possibly." I said, "Has it been months?" He goes, "Possibly." So here we have, Brandon, the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, who has the most important military document in his pocket. He's supposed to have, by the way, and he has lost them. So he can't recall how long it's been since he's seen them. And I pressed him on it. It could have gone possibly up to 3 months where the U.S. didn't have the ability to counterstrike with nuclear weapons. And that's why my book's called Dereliction of Duty. Can we imagine a commander-in-chief who has that responsibility, who then loses the codes, number one, which could be a human error kind of thing, I get it. But secondly, doesn't report it to me. And then third, lies about it. And his only response to me, Brandon, was, "Please don't let the press find out about this." His only reaction was, "Please don't let the press find out about this." So I didn't. I said, "Yes, sir, I won't do that," until I wrote my first book, Dereliction of Duty, because that is dereliction of duty. And we as Americans deserve much better than that. And that was who Bill Clinton is and is now today. Again, the Pentagon was incredulous. This had never happened going back to Dwight D. Eisenhower. Okay, we've had presidents carry the nuclear codes for a long time, and President Bill Clinton lost them. And all he cared about was it not get leaked to the press in conjunction with Monica Lewinsky. That's who he was, she was, Hillary Clinton is, and that's why I walked away from the White House and the Democrats.
I mean, when you describe that scene, especially of him with his hand, his face in his hand, like, yeah. I'm like picturing like a first grader You know what I mean? Like, I'm like picture like a little kid in a suit being like, I lost the nuclear code. You know, it's like, and he didn't even like,
No.
That story's unbelievable.
Well, believe it, because I wrote about it, and so did General Hugh Shelton a couple of years later. It's believable because it happened. And, you know, and again, I talk about my books are all about, and my speeches are all about, you know, how Democrats are ill-equipped and unqualified to be in charge of this nation and our military and our national security. And that's why, frankly, Brandon, they don't give a shit. Okay, they're more concerned about their social policies, their pet projects. They're concerned about their power in Washington D.C., and that's playing out today, bigger and better than ever. I mean, yeah, if I would gladly vote for a Democrat, seriously, if they would come to me and be honest and forthright and talk to me about how this country will be better in the future. But they can't do that because they don't understand that. They don't have the capacity to understand that. I mean, if you look at what happened last week with Brett Kavanaugh, look at Dianne Feinstein, her duplicitous, you know, the fact that she leaked this letter, this lady who I believe is probably mentally ill.
Yes.
She leaked it. She paid for the polygraph. She hired the lawyers. I mean, this is all about preventing the conservative movement from going forward. So here's Brett Kavanaugh, who has a wife and daughters also. Now, I don't know if you drank in college. I did. I mean, I drank in high school.
Oh, yeah.
I never sexually assaulted anybody. I mean, I drank. I had a good time. But if you're going to try to ruin a person's life because you are so opposed to their ideology, and, you know, and elections have consequences, right? So when Democrats win the White House, they get to nominate Supreme Court justices. When Republicans do, they get to nominate also. But we don't engage in character assassination. So that's where we are right now. We're engaging in the Democrats will obliterate anybody, right or wrong. They will obliterate anybody for power. And that's where we are in this country right now. We have lost our moral compass. And I think, I mean, I see faults on both sides. Trust me, I see faults on both sides. But having been in the heart of the beast in Washington, D.C., and living in the heart of the beast right now in California, I can tell you there's a lot worse going on the left than is going on the right.
Right.
So again, we need to understand that your movement is essential. November is essential. We have to show up in Washington, D.C. We have to march, show up at the gala. I'll be there.
Yes. Show up the gala. Yeah, the gala dinner. Buzz, will you get up at the gala and tell us a story or two?
Absolutely, I will. You bet.
See, I love this guy. God, Buzz, I can't remember what my life used to be like without you. And I
likewise, Brandon. Likewise, dude.
Thank you, Buzz. It's fair to say we're going to run late tonight. Listen, to everybody who's watching, we're going to run a little late tonight because we have a really awesome show. We have several more guests to get on, and actually, I want to round up all the guys at the end and have a little group conversation about what's going on in this country right now with Me Too and men and everything else. Buzz, I'm going to wrap up this portion of our interview. Oh, well, put him back on. There you go. That was so abrupt, Rob. Buzz, it was awesome talking with you. We're going to bring you back on later. And,
yeah.
Sorry, Rob. And Buzz, let everybody know you're definitely going to be at the Walkway March on Washington weekend, the whole weekend, right?
Yes, absolutely. The whole weekend.
If you guys want to meet this terrific guy and hear him say a few words, come to Washington, D.C. on October 26th to the 28th of the Walkway March on Washington weekend. It's going to be incredible. We're doing a gala dinner at Trump International Hotel on Friday, October 26th, the March and Rally on Saturday, October 27th, and the closing brunch on October 28th, also at the Trump International Hotel. Buzz, we'll be talking with you again a little bit later. Thanks so much for coming on.
You bet, guys. Thanks a lot. See you, Brandon.
All right, so now it's time to talk to our walk away of the week. We have another straight white male on the show tonight. So this is Josh Evans. I watched his walk away video this week. I was really taken with it because Josh is a young guy. And what I really loved was there was sort of a vulnerable nature about the question that he asked. I mean, it's a reasonable question. It's a hard thing, very hard thing, being a young conservative in today's world. where, you know, the majority of people his age are liberals. The majority of what he's hearing in the education system and in the entertainment industry and in the media is liberal ideology. It's a tough thing to be a 19-year-old guy and have conservative values. And he had a question, you know, what do you do? How do you talk to these people? Let's take a look at part of his walkaway video. This is Josh Evans.
The reason I'm making this video is because I've been a fan of the walkaway campaign for a little while now. And I realize most of you are a little bit older than I am in comparison. So I'm 19 years old. So I figured it'd be kind of interesting to get a different opinion and a different outlook on this whole situation. Well, I grew up liberal. Okay, I was liberal my whole life. And the reason for this is because I simply just didn't know any better. You know, I just repeated information that I heard at school, you know, on the news, or from my parents. And it wasn't until about 6 months before the 2016 election that I really started to look into things for myself. You know, I really started to see, okay, well, is Trump this, you know, evil white supremacist that everyone keeps saying? And, you know, are Republicans really that evil? And it turned out that's not the case at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Josh Evans to the show.
Yeah.
Josh, you're already hit. Someone just wrote "so hot." Nice young man. Love you, Josh. Love your story. Wow, God, they like you more than me. Josh, welcome. So tell us a little bit. Okay, so Josh, first of all, where do you live?
I live in California, specifically more in the LA area, so very, very liberal.
And you're 19 years old.
That I am.
Okay, so did you considered yourself a liberal before, or did you not really think about it?
So I definitely grew up very liberal. The only exception is I've always been pro 2A since I was a kid, just because of my grandpa. I always shot a lot of guns with him. But besides that, every other issue, I've always been extremely liberal. And the reason for this is just because, you know, my parents were liberal. Everything you hear at school is liberal, and, you know, the media is liberal. So I just didn't think for myself, and that's why I had those ideologies.
Well, it's totally understandable, and you said it. You hit the nail on the head with what you just said. I mean, these messages are almost inescapable. They're everywhere. The movies that you go to, the television shows that we watch, and when you go to school. I mean, my God, that story that I read earlier in the show, that's a professor. That's a college professor who wants to see guys like you castrated and your testicles fed to swine.
Yeah, see, that's just absolutely preposterous. And the thing is that in a lot of universities, now I have not attended college. I'm really trying to go down the entrepreneurial route. And, you know, the thing is that even though I'm not in college, I still have a lot of friends in college. And, you know, I see a lot of videos, you know, whether it just be in various places of, you know, professors, school board administration, just a bunch of different areas of, you know, faculty that can just absolutely throw out, you know, a leftist idea and there's no repercussion. However, if it was the opposite, where there's a faculty member to throw out, say, you know, any sort of conservative or, you know, right-winged idea, they'd be absolutely fired and they would be crucified practically. You know, it's such a double standard.
100%. I mean, I agree with you completely. And there's, you know, Josh, read Michael Gerber's, what was it? Sorry. Rob's trying to get in on the conversation through. Okay, he's telling you to read a book. Rob, you'll have to let us know.
I got you.
Stop distracting us, Rob. Now I lost my train of thought. What were we talking? I'm totally lost now.
We're talking about
college. All right. So yeah, I mean, I actually didn't go to college. I never attended college at all, which is what I sort of attribute to the fact that I was able to break free from liberal ideology, because I found that I actually believe the more educated a liberal is, the more indoctrinated they are. That's my belief. I mean, I have a lot of friends who are lawyers, PhDs, they're very liberal. And these people, I mean, there is no getting through to them. There is no getting through to them when you try to have a conversation about, you know, the ideologies and why they don't hold up, why they don't make any sense. Now, okay, you asked a question in your video, Josh, at the end of your video. Yeah, can you tell us all what that was?
So the main question I asked at the end of my video was, I was reaching out to everyone in the group, and I was really trying to ask if there was any sort of tips they had on how I could get through to certain people on the other side to help them see my perspective. Because, the biggest issue I have is, like you really just put out there, is that it's very difficult to talk, and especially the people on the other side. I mean, even people on the right, you may have different discrepancies, but especially people on the polar opposite side, when they hear an opposing view, it's as if their brain just immediately closes and they just don't want to hear anything, and they just completely shut you out. And I believe that open-mindedness is absolutely one of the biggest factors that you can have to a successful society. And that's why I'm always willing to listen to people on the other side or any opposing view. I'm always willing to listen because it just furthers my knowledge.
I love that. I think it's, I think that they've made monsters and demons of people on the other side. So when you're having a conversation with somebody and, you start to say, like, for instance, you're pro Second Amendment.
Yes.
I think that for a lot of people, like you might be able to have a conversation with them and actually be agreeing with them on many of the political beliefs that they have. But the second that they might hear that you're pro Second Amendment, then they start to their mind starts to they're like, wait, he said something a monster would say. He said something, I mean, it's like, I think people on the right have been so demonized and so vilified that when people start to hear even traces of that, those political beliefs, then their minds start getting they're like, wait, is there something wrong with him? Is there something wrong with him? You know what I mean? But
yeah, of course.
You asked the question, how to have a conversation with these people. This is a tip I'm going to give you. And I think I need to really sit down because I get asked this a lot, even when I do public speaking, people, this is a question I always get, like, how do you have a conversation with these people? And it's like, listen, if I had all the answers, we wouldn't need the walkway campaign, but there's one strategy that I have, that I always tell people, which is that I think it's very effective when talking to a liberal to try to establish mutual core values right at the beginning of the conversation. Because what liberals believe is that they are very enlightened and evolved, and that they are very much about equality and fairness and progress of humanity. And they believe that the people on the other side are the opposite of those things. They think that people on the right are very regressive. They think that people on the right are predisposed to being racist, to being, against equality, maybe have problems with women. So I think if you can begin a conversation by saying, look, I'm really against racism. I'm really against, inequality for women. I'm really against all of these things. That's why I think that having a president like the president we have right now is so beneficial for this country, because we're seeing that African American unemployment is at an all-time low. We're seeing that African American support for the president has more than doubled in the last year. We're seeing that American citizens, racial minorities, are doing better than they ever have. We're seeing that women are doing amazingly well in this country right now. That, women are opening businesses. There are ways in which you can establish mutual core values. They still might throw acid in your face or go completely, insane, or key your car or slash your tires. But I mean, it's like, at least they can't really walk away and say, well, I did it because that guy's a racist, or I did it.
Yeah.
They can't really say that, because the truth is, that's not true. That's something that's not true. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And I think it was really interesting because, first of all, again, I 100% agree with, you really need to find that common ground, because that's what brings people together. But I think It was really interesting. You brought up how you want to, possibly bring up how, I don't believe in racism, which is 100% true. I do not believe in racism at all. I think it's an absolutely terrible thing. And, a lot of people on the left claim to be, the more tolerant side, the, non-racist side. And yet here you have them just completely discriminating and hating on white males, which I think is,
right,
a little bit ridiculous. And, the left is really known to be the ones that bring the country together. But when you create these far-fetched ideas, it does the exact opposite. It actually tears the country apart. So, it's a bit of a sticky situation, which is a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Josh, are you coming to the Walkway March on Washington?
If I can make it, I would be more than glad to go.
All right. Well, you'll have to get on one of those buses. We'll have to get you to you might have to hitchhike. You might have to hitchhike from California to Georgia, You can do that, right, Josh? That's safe.
Of course.
That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
People hitchhike all the time, Josh. It's not a big deal. All right, so hitchhike from California to Georgia, and then you can catch the bus from Georgia to the Walkway March on Washington. Josh, I want you to stay with us because you're going to join our straight white male panel discussion a little bit later in the show. Good talking.
All right, I can't wait for it. Good talking to you as well.
See you later. All right, we're going to go right into our next straight white male. So tonight's third straight white male, he created a song. And it is an awesome song. And my producer, Rob, has, I want to say something really vulgar right now, but I guess we're not that kind of show. Well, needless to say, what happens when a man gets really excited? Well, that's what Rob has had for like a week and a half over this song. He won't stop talking about this song. And it's a really good song. So I'm going to script this acronym. Let me write it down before I say it, because I always screw this up. Where we go one, we go all. Is that right?
That's
Rob,
right.
Okay. So the song is WWG1WGA, which is Where We Go One, We Go All. Rob, are we going to show the video for that song before we bring in our next guest? All right, let's do it. So this is WWG1WGA by a straight white male who's going to be coming up in just a moment.
They call us deplorable, and we love the name. They got the bodies in the dirt and need someone to blame. Got a penchant for greed and money to spare. They put the dollars in the coffers and the lies in the air. Well, we go one, we go all. I won't push you down, you won't let me fall. One day for sure we will stand tall. Where we go one, we go all. We are the patriots, trust the plan because we have it all and the fate is in our hands. Had a reason to fool us, but we didn't take the bait. They want to take us to hell, but we got guns at the gate. They call it a conspiracy, it's the one last lie. We know who they are, and we got them in our sights. Our knowledge is power, they're running for the hills. If the law don't get them, then we the people will. Well, we go one, we go all. I won't push you down, you won't let me fall. One day for sure we will stand tall. Where we go one, we go all. We go all. I won't push you down, you won't let me fall. One day for sure we will stand tall. Where we go one, we go all.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was J.T. Wilde, and we have him here with us tonight. That was the man behind the song. J.T., how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on and talking with me tonight.
I love the episode. This is the perfect episode for me. So I love it.
I had a feeling, when I saw the picture that we used for in the promo ad for where you're like, I think you're like with your guitar or whatever. I was like, oh, this is yeah. I was like, this is the perfect guy for the straight white male episode.
Yes.
All right.
Sure.
So tell us about the song. First of all, when did you write it?
I wrote it about July, and I wrote the lyrics in July, just inspired by General Flynn and by the Q movement. And then I recorded it about a month ago. Literally, I went to Washington, D.C. to play at the Mother of All Rallies. And that was a really good time. But on the way back, I stopped at Casey Johnson's house, and he said he had put out a thing on Twitter that he would produce anybody's song that was for the movement, for America, for QAnon. And I heard his stuff. I'm like, I love this kid's production. And I drove up. He lives up in the mountains in Virginia. So I drove up the mountain in my hot rod, and I got lost 4 times and had no GPS. But anyways, we got there, had a great time. We spent about 3 hours, and then I left, and he spent about 30 or 40 hours on it. And he just did a masterful job of creating sounds.
Well, JT, I'm reading the comments. Everyone's going absolutely crazy. I mean, I have people here saying that they're crying. Sheila says, hello, JT, love your song. Casey Johnson, heart, 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 heart. Marsha K, JC, God bless. And you straight white male, you JT Wilde, LOL, love you. I mean, they love you. They love you and they love your song. And so what kind of reaction has it been getting so far on social media?
It's insane, and it was a huge surprise, to be honest with you. I had no idea it was going to do this, but one of my good friends in the Matrix on Twitter posted it. It's got almost 100,000 views just on that one post. It's starting to build my YouTube channel so I can start playing live from there. I've only got about 1,300 on there right now, but the views on the channel are doing well. So it's good. It's nice to have, actually, to be honest with you, it's really nice to have patriotic music. Something that can make people really feel proud about who they are. And that song, that kind of song personifies the feelings we have about being, for lack of a better term, raped by the system. And it really, there is some real, there's some, not anger necessarily, but we have been pushed down for so long. Our voices have been pushed down for so long by the mainstream that we have had to literally, like every revolution, start down here in the deep dark edges of the internet and to create a following and create somebody to hear us. I finally found in this song, I found a way for me to write music now for the rest of my life that actually fulfills my patriot heart. And that's really the greatest gift of the whole thing for myself anyway.
I love that. And you know what I really love too is, like, you sort of touched on something that I've been saying a lot lately and I've been feeling for a while, which is that now, since you're a straight white male, you might not necessarily identify with what I'm about to say, but maybe for other reasons in your life you do. But I can tell you, like, as a gay man, and I'm a gay man who came, I'm a kid of the 80s. I grew up, I was still growing up in the 90s. I was a young adult in the 90s, so I definitely existed in a time of pretty rampant homophobia. And I lived in the kind of the age of the counterculture that resulted from that, back when it was like super fun to be gay and like the nightlife and all the energy surrounding that, because it was a counterculture. It was something, it wasn't mainstream.
A revolution in itself.
What's that?
It was a revolution in itself.
It was a revolution in itself. But what I love actually that's happening right now, because I think because I without a choice, I sort of grew up in that kind of environment and I sort of grew to love that kind of thing. I missed it when, being gay is so mainstream now. There's really no one cares. And there's not really a lot of counterculture, and the gay nightlife is not fun anymore. And there's nothing cool. But what I'm finding happening now is there's sort of this counterculture that's developing from being a conservative or being a Trump supporter, because conservatives are so closeted at this point and sort of discriminated against, which is a huge reason why I created the Walk Away campaign. And what I'm finding now is all these different types of people, whether it be black, white, straight, gay, whatever, what we share is this common ideology. And there's nothing wrong with the ideology. It's actually a really helpful and healthy ideology. But for some reason, we have become these sort of outcasts at this point for believing what we believe. And what I'm finding is that I love seeing cool guys like you and like all these sort of edgy people. I think that what it means now to be a Republican or do you consider yourself a Republican?
Well, I'm yes. I mean, I would say I'm independent. I'm a free thinker. I want the truth. I'm a truther. I want transparency in our government. And I felt like Trump was the only way we were going to get there. I hated both parties.
I have to take a moment and say thank you to Patriot Soapbox for donating $100 in YouTube.
Oh, wow. That is really amazing. I was on the show last night. I have a show on there Sunday nights. So that's really awesome of them to do.
That is awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. But
Brandon, if I could, because you just led me, and you know, when you talk and when we talk about this stuff, my mind just goes to all these places. But I want to give you a little bit of background about me.
Okay.
Straight white male, you know. When I was 16 and 17 in high school, I was a new waver kid. You know, I was in choir and in drama and had a band. And there was only about 2 openly gay guys in my school, you know. But I became really, really, really good friends with one of them. And to this day, we're really good friends. He ended up changing and being transgender. And, you know, I used to protect him back then. And, you know, I was also raised as a youth in the South and a lot of racism. And I just didn't understand that, you know. And then in school, I was picked on by a lot of black kids. So, you know, I've had this really array, but I've always had a heart of love. I've always had a heart of love and freedom. And so, you know, I think I was a Democrat mainly because they pulled the wool over our eyes and made us think how cool it was and how we were great, you know, for each other. And I mean, how they were great for the country and they wanted to help everybody. Because, of course, as any person in a free country, you want to help people, you know, and I think that's where we got lost.
I agree with you. And I also want to say thank you to Tyler, who just donated $5 on Super Chat because I loved his comment. He said, though I may not have a lot of money to give, this message is really important and I want to see it shared far and wide. And yeah, Tyler, that's so awesome. And listen, listen, $5 goes a long way. So thanks a lot, buddy. That's really awesome. And you know what? I love your comment even more than I love the $5. Thank you. That was really, really great to hear. JT, what's coming up next for you?
I really, I've got a show on the Patriot Soapbox. I'm doing a Sunday nights show. I've got some friends doing another Q Lounge that I pop in there every once in a while. Great friends of mine. I'm also, the song is going to be released on October 17th, which is really exciting. I really am interested to see if it translates into something. I want to donate at least half of the money from it to a cause that I think that we can all vote on. I want to be more interactive with the people now that I feel like I have a little bit of a voice in this fight, you know. And so I'm trying to build my YouTube channel and like have coffee with people every now and then. 11:11 coffee time with JT, and I'm coming up with ideas to get the message out, just like you did at the beginning. You know, I mean, you started at this one point, and you just, you know, broke out of your shell and allowed yourself to speak your mind, and that is, I'm actually finally starting to do that, and it feels so good.
Oh my God, it feels so good.
I'm going to take a lot of flack from certain people, but you know, if they really love you, they allow you to be yourself, and that's the truth.
You know, before I made my video, my original walkway video that sort of launched the whole thing, I watched a lot of other conservatives who had YouTube channels, and many of them were people who used to be on the left and had switched, and they all said the same thing. They were like, "You're going to lose a lot of friends if you switch, you know, if you walk away from this ideology." But, you know, it's so worth it because of, you know, the new friends that you'll make and what will happen to you on the other side. I think that my experience has been an extreme. I mean, I would love if everybody has an experience like I have, but I definitely have to be another voice in that chorus and tell people I effing love my life now. I love my life so much. I can't even, and it's all because I broke free and I told the truth. I mean, I stood up, I told the truth, and I'm just like, it's true. I have lost a lot of friends. I do think a lot of them are going to come back. I think in time they're going to understand, and I will forgive them. My door is open to anybody who's walked out of my life, or I don't care what you've said to me or the nasty things I don't care. If you come back to me, you say, hey, I'm sorry. I get it now. My door is open. But
authentic, very authentic way to live. And it feels good.
It feels amazing. And I wish it for everybody. And I hope that you continue to tell your truth and then inspire others to tell their truth as well. Where do you live, JT?
I'm in Clearwater, Florida, Tampa Bay.
You know what I'm going to ask you next, right?
Uh-oh. What's that?
Are you going to be at the Walkway March on Washington?
Oh, you know what? Actually, I was just looking at my calendar. I think what I might do is finally maybe monetize my live channel so I can get donations for it, because I really can't afford it, man. I literally took a huge chunk out of I'm still paying for the last trip to the more rally, but I want to be there more than you can imagine. So I think I'm going to try to move mountains and make it happen.
If you perform, I'll get your plane ticket.
Done. I'll cancel my gigs that I have.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a good 75%. I can do it.
Let's talk after the show. But if you want to perform at the show, you have other songs too, right?
All kinds of songs, buddy.
You could do a set.
I do it for a living every night, bro. That's what I do.
I'll totally get your plane ticket, and we'll take care. We'll talk after the show. We'll take care of it if you'll perform at the rally.
Hell, I'd love it. It'd be an honor. And is Buzz going to be there? I mean, Buzz was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, Buzz is going to be there.
I get a buzz just thinking about meeting Buzz.
Yeah, and okay, I never have this ready. Let's
Beans is in the chat, by the way.
She's in the chat right now.
She was a little while ago. She's one of my heroes of the movement too. She is the hardest working journalist in the independent. One of them. You can't. We're all working hard. We're all.
I love that girl so much. Yeah, she's amazing. So this is who else you're going to see, JT, when you're at the rally. You are going to see me. You're going to see Buzz Patterson, Dinesh D'Souza, Stacey Dash, Mason Weaver, Scott Pressler, Mark Lutchman, Joy Vila, Brendan Dilley, Bill Mitchell, Pastor Burns, Tracy Beans, Zach King, and Magdalene Rose. And then we also have joining us as remote speakers, since this whole event is going to be blasted out on the big screens, and then it's going to be telecast too, so we can get all those future walkaways who are like, I'm not going to go to that march because I don't understand what they're doing. And then they're going to tell them when they're watching, they're going to be like, oh my God, I'm totally going to walk away. I get it now. So for those watching at home, we have remote speakers who are going to be like blasting in through our system. And that's going to be Tommy Lahren, Antonio Sabato Jr., Dave Rubin, CJ Pearson, Herman Cain, Diamond and Silk, and a little guy who just happens to be the president of the United States' son, Donald Trump Jr. The Walkway March on Washington is going to be the most incredible event that the right has ever thrown. It's going to make the Women's March look like a bunch of crazy women with vaginas on their heads. Oh, wait, that is what it was.
Oh,
wait,
what is it? What's the date of it?
The Walkway March on Washington is October 27th, and the whole weekend is October 26th through the 28th, with a gala dinner on Friday, October 26th, a march and rally on October 27th, and the closing brunch on October 28th. We've got busing available now from 14 cities, more to come. We also have options for people who want to stay the whole weekend, who want to bus and have a hotel. It's going to be very, very affordable. And we have lots of fun contests, which I talked about at the beginning of the show. But we are running long. I'm going to let everyone know right now, we're not going to do our group chat because we are so long right now. And I haven't even gotten to my fourth and loveliest guest of all. of all the straight white men. Well, after all the straight white men, now we have a little femininity that we want to introduce, just a little bit of estrogen into the air tonight. So let's bring our media mogul. Oh, bye, JT. I don't think, did I officially say goodbye to JT? JT,
No, you did. But I'm coming to the march. I'm going to be there.
I love it. JT's going to be at the march and he's going to sing,
"Where we go one, we go all. I won't push you down. You won't let me fall. One day for sure we will stand tall. Where we go one, we go all."
yeah, baby.
Awesome.
Thank you, JT. JT, have a great night. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye. All right. So let's get right to the main event. Our media mogul, Maria Albanese. She's here to tell us all the news that the news doesn't tell us. She's going to let us know what we need to know. Maria Albanese at One Citizen Pundit. That's on Twitter, right, Maria? At One Citizen Pundit.
That's right.
And on Facebook, you're just at The Citizen Pundit.
The Citizen Pundit.
Okay.
How did I get in on the white male show?
Well, first of all, you are a regular on Walkway with Brandon Straka. I mean, you have your own parking space, for God's sake, right?
Yes, it appears that way, but a great show. It's wonderful. I love Buzz. I agree with JT. Josh was great. So every week we run late, so we're going to really quick run through some of the things everybody should be checking out.
Yes.
Every week I push that we have to vote red.
Yes.
I'm going to keep saying it, but there was a news item that everyone should go find on YouTube, on Twitter. It was CNN Politics with Van Jones interviewing the Democrat from Minnesota and New York, and they will give you a real reason to vote like your life depends on it. Once you watch this, you will see the Democratic Socialists speaking and talking about the fact that, you know, Donald Trump's a tyrant, he's a dictator, that the Democrats want to win to basically save this country. So, of course, Van Jones was buying into it, but any of your followers will not be buying into it. And it's so important. This is what you walked away from. Now, when you're on the outside and you're looking back in, I think you'll get what I mean when you watch this clip. Sadly, we can't play it here. I wish we could all watch it together. But it is out there on Twitter and on Facebook, and I'm sure on YouTube.
Okay, tell us a little bit. This woman right here in the pink who's speaking right now.
She's a Democrat from Minnesota. I believe she says she's a refugee from Somalia. And the other one is the Democratic Socialist from New York, Alexandria Cortez. And they are talking about, if they win, they're going to push the agenda of impeaching Trump. And they both think he's very dangerous. He's a tyrant. He's a dictator. And they lay out their argument for it. And of course, Van Jones buys into it quite lovely. So,
Maria, is she a Democratic Socialist?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It seems like the whole party is Democratic Socialist anymore. The moderate Democrats have run over to Walkaway. Have you noticed?
I have noticed, and we are grateful. We are very grateful, and we open them with open arms. Now, but I want to ask you, do you see, I mean, this is, Maria, this is what I've been talking about recently. I've said what they are going to do, what the Democrats are going to do, is they are going to find they're going to dive into their little bag of identity politics, and they're going to start finding Muslims and Black people and gay people and transgender people who have this fringe. Well, you know what? Honestly, they might not even have this ideology. They may be going to them and saying, here's your platform. Let us just, this is what you're going to be running on. And it's this democratic socialism. It's the impeach Trump platform. And they're doing this so that when people oppose this, they can say, it's because you're a racist. It's because you're a bigot. It's because you're Islamophobic. It's because that girl, by the way, is gorgeous. That gorgeous girl in the pink, but they're totally propping her up and using her because it's just like what they're doing with Kavanaugh. I mean, they know that it's politically incorrect to say, look, that woman clearly has some mental issues. But she's accusing somebody of rape, so you're a monster if you say that.
Well, this is why I don't want anybody that plans on voting red to get complacent. They are getting crazier by the moment. What they are pulling with this, I'm going to call it the new Ford precedent. there is a new precedent being set within Congress. There's a new precedent being set that women, not only do you have to be heard, but you must be believed before evidence can be produced. And they marched this woman in front of America. And her today, I don't know if you're aware, but Rachel Mitchell, who had interviewed her, 25-year career, her memorandum exonerates Kavanaugh. She lays out about 5 pages of why she feels that this story is not believable, provable. So this is where we're at. What more do we need to see of how unhinged the left has become? This is why we're getting more people. The Kavanaugh hearing is just bringing more people to cross over. I think you're seeing that. I'm sure you're getting, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it not just in your campaign, but I'm seeing it everywhere. So when they're finding your campaign, it's great. It's just adding, people are fed up.
Yep.
They are beyond disgusted. And so whatever little tricks they pull out of their Rolodex to play, like with these 2 women that were on Van Jones's show, or the Kavanaugh hearings, you have the, what Dianne Feinstein did. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't leak the letter. This could have been taken care of behind closed doors. It never needed to be in the public eye, but they wanted it tried in the court of public opinion. But it is going to backfire on them. That I am confident about.
How do you feel about the FBI investigation?
Well, on Friday when it happened, I was outraged because also what Flake did, he was accosted on an elevator by what they wanted us to believe as a victim.
I saw that.
That victim works for CPD, which is funded by Democracy Alliance, which is Steyer, Soros. These are entities that prop these people up, and they targeted Flake. So when he came out on the floor and did that, see, this is what we get angry about. We have our representatives. They don't represent us. When we're watching this, like the Super Bowl, and the majority of Republicans or moderate Democrats that have crossed over are screaming at their television set, no, he testified in front of Congress. You guys should be able to make your ruling and take the vote. Well, now you want an FBI investigation. Fine, he'll have his 7th. Are you going to investigate Blasey Ford for the American people? We deserve to know. You've wasted our time. You put her up there. And what do we know about her? Do we know her medical background? I can tell you the Gateway Pundit and Jim Hoft is doing phenomenal work. In fact, before we came on tonight, he published an article that said back in 2008, she wrote an article on self-hypnosis that used to retrieve and create artificial situations. Why we're finding this out now, after she got her platform? Does this mean everybody gets a platform, Brandon? Anybody that raises their hand and says, something happened to me 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago? Is Keith Ellison's accuser, Karen Monahan, going to get a platform? Because she was out on Twitter long before the Minnesota race, and he still won.
Maria, something else that I think is so, you just asked, does everybody get a platform? I mean, never mind the fact that we know that, in fact, there are women who do lie. That is a real thing that really does happen sometimes. But in addition to that, they're once again, I feel like, really playing with, and kind of like putting on puppet strings, this whole thing about that they know it's not politically correct to question somebody who makes an accusation like that. And the problem is that anybody with any common sense can look and see there's something not right with this woman.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the precedent the left, have now created. This is horrifying for real victims. If you were a real victim right now, you would say, I could not come out because my story is 100 times more believable than hers. Look at what they've done. They've made a mockery out of this. This is a woman who can't remember vital details, but she can remember she had one beer. Do we see how crazy this is?
Right.
That Kavanaugh had no one standing behind him when he gave his emotional testimony to "I didn't do this." That he had women across this nation crying. She had a team around her. You could see them whispering in her ear. They were behind her. They were next to her. This is what America is judging her on. This is not to discount real victims. Me Too is going to go sideways because of what just happened. In my opinion.
I agree with you, but I feel that the reason why this is also so dangerous, besides, what I said, that, in fact, some do lie, is that all of us, I think, on a regular basis encounter people who maybe you accidentally, in a hurry, you brush up against them. They say, "Ow, you hit me, and there are people in this world for whom their definition of assault is so outrageous. So if we're now setting this precedent that we're going to believe everybody,
that's right.
She very well might believe that she was assaulted or that something happened to her, but it's like, what are we calling assault now? Do we do you see what I'm saying? I mean,
But see, this is the thing. We really don't know much about her mental health. And if she truly did do self-regression to where it's creating an artificial situation, she may very well believe everything she said. But we don't know what we're dealing with. We don't have that evidence laid out for us. So where do we go from here? This man has been character assassinated. All on what? Because the Democrats are that desperate to stop anything Donald Trump touches.
Right.
They hate Donald Trump. They hate Donald Trump supporters. This is why it's so important. Everybody, no matter what you think of the Republicans, I don't even love them. I did love Lindsey Graham this week, though. He surprised me. And Flake did not surprise me.
Lindsey Graham, I think we all loved him, but then he kind of did a little turnaround there, don't you think?
Yeah, that's Lindsey Graham, but at least he said what a lot of America was thinking. It's all a dog and pony show is what it is. So the people who've been around for a long time, we know what Flake and Coons proved to the American people, that politics is all backroom deals, because Flake and Coons are very good friends. They vacation together, they're buddy. Heck, they might be a 2020 ticket.
Maria, do you have any other stories you want to talk about tonight before we wrap up?
No, just please find Gateway Pundit on Twitter and on Facebook and look at all the articles Jim Hoff's doing. He's doing great work covering the Kavanaughs. And there's someone else I follow, which is True Pundit, and they're getting ready to drop a book this month called How We Dismantled the FBI in Our Pajamas. And that is because they are former FBI and they were working under the handle of Thomas Paine, but he has now come forward with his identity and he has a book dropping this month.
Amazing. And you know what, Maria? Cycling Training just donated $100 on Super Chat. And we are $200.
Very nice. Thank you.
It's Cycling Training because it just scrolled up really fast. Cycling Training, thank you so much for donating $200 tonight in our Super Chat. That's amazing. We appreciate that so much. We're still building our little show and building our little audience, despite the fact that we have the best guests. I mean, we have the best guests, Maria.
I agree.
And the producer is so, but we have.
Rob is the bomb.
Listen, if he's going to ask me to say the compliment, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Rob, we love you. You're the best producer. You're the best producer. And Rob is another Rob's another straight white male. And he's another straight white male who does a really, really bang up job of kind of keeping things, in check when he's got like this gay guy going berserk. Which happens, 6, 7. I yell at Rob a lot, and there's a lot of remorse. There's a lot of remorse in this relationship. I'm often, I yell at Rob like 5 times a week, and I feel terrible about it after. And then I buy him flowers, and then he forgives me, and then I start yelling at him again. It's just a cycle of abuse. The Me Too movement should be for Rob. That's Rob is the one who's being me too, more than anybody else in America. By
Rob,
me.
you're a victim.
You're a victim, Rob. Yay! You're in good company. You should become a Democrat. Maria, he just donated another $100. Let's do the show for. Let's just keep doing the show all night. Let's cycling training drain the. Let's just keep going. Cycling training has now donated $300. Wow, who is this guy? $300. Cycling training. Thank you so much. We love you. Hey guys, we each got $100. Let's go have a drink. Amazing, Maria.
Virtual drinks.
The virtual drinks. Maria, I can't drink anyway, but I'll have like $300 worth of $100 worth of sparkling water.
Coffee. Yeah. Coffee.
No more coffee. Not tonight. I have to be up at the crowd. Ooh, RT Kizzle just gave $10. Thank you, RT Kizzle, on Super Chat. We love this. Is so much fun. If I didn't have, I really do have to be up early in the morning. That's the only reason why I have to wrap the show. I'd say let's keep going. So everybody, we'll kind of wrap up there, and I'll let everyone know. So tomorrow I'm going to be on Fox and Friends. My hit is at 7:50 a.m. Eastern time. You'll see me on Fox and Friends. I'm very excited about it for a number of reasons. I haven't done Fox and Friends yet. So it'll be a lot of fun to do a different show on Fox that I haven't done yet. But I'm really excited because they want to have me on to talk about the Kavanaugh hearings and to specifically talk about it from the angle of what effect I think this has had on Democrats. Has it had a detrimental effect on the average Democratic voter? I'm going to go out and go ahead and just say right here, I'm kind of an expert on the issue. Why? Because I run the Walkway campaign, and I have seen an influx of people this week come to the Walkway campaign. Our page has been on fire. If you guys haven't already joined the hashtag Walkway campaign group page on Facebook, we just had a huge influx this week because people are, as Diamond and Silk would say, they're not just walking away, they're running away and running like hell from the Democratic Party and straight to the Walkway campaign. So I told Fox and Friends, not only can I give you my opinion about this, I can actually give you evidence. How about if I send you a bunch of screenshots of testimonials of people who are literally saying, because of what has happened this past week with the Kavanaugh hearing, I'm walking away. They said, we love it. Send us the screenshots. So I screenshotted about 8 or 9 stories, sent it to Fox and Friends. And we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Kavanaugh. We're going to be talking about the Walkway campaign. We're going to be talking about people who are walking away and people who are running away and people who are running like hell. Speaking of Diamond and Silk, I saw them today. I was actually in Michigan earlier today and filmed a scene with them for their movie. It's an interview that's going to be in their movie, which is coming out later in the month. And we talked about the Walkway campaign and the Walkway March on Washington. Maria, we've got to wrap up. Why don't you give everybody a closing thought, and then I'll say our goodbyes.
All right, midterms, November 6th. Get out and vote red.
And come to the Walkway March on Washington.
And go to the march and watch Brandon tomorrow morning on Fox and Friends.
7:50 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be on Fox and Friends. I'm going to wrap up the show tonight. Maria, you were amazing as always. Great show tonight. I want to let everyone know that I am walking away. Oh my God, he just gave another $100. I don't even feel right about ending the show. Oh my God, cycling training just gave us another $100.
Very nice. Very nice.
I think maybe we should just stay up all night and I should just go straight to Fox and Friends without sleeping, because cycling training is giving us $100 like every 10 seconds. I mean, this like we're going to fund the whole Walkway March on Washington if we just keep doing the show like at one of those 24-hour marathons.
You could do that. You could do a live stream, bro.
He's going to bicycle. It's the Bike Away March on Washington. We really do have to wrap up. I have to get a little bit of sleep. God, I don't want to though, because he's really he's just giving it to us. This is so much fun. I feel weird about wrapping up the show, but I have to. Rob, could I get a one shot, please? But Maria, I love you. Good night.
I love you too.
I want to say good night to everybody, and I want to say that I am walking away, and I encourage all of you to do the same. Walk away. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.